This week in CIST 1602, we'll look at Chapter 11 with security maintenance. So when we complete this chapter, you should be able to discuss the need for ongoing maintenance of the information security program, list recommended security management models, define a model for a full maintenance program, identify the key factors involved in monitoring the external and internal environments, describe how planning, risk assessment, vulnerability assessment, and remediation tie into information security maintenance, and also how to explain how to build readiness and review procedures into your information security maintenance. A couple other things we should be able to define digital forensics and describe the management of digital forensics functions. So we'll talk about starting with information security or information security policy. Even that after that's been successfully implemented, organizations will likely go through changes that might require the information security policy to be modified. Some of the reasons that may affect an organization's information security environment will be the acquisition of new assets and diversing of old assets, the emergence of vulnerabilities associated with new or existing assets, maybe shifting the business priorities, formation of new partnerships, or the dissolving of old partnerships. You may have the departure of personnel who were trained, educated, aware of policies, procedures, and technologies, and then the hiring of new personnel. Now, that if an organization deals successfully with changes and has created procedures and systems that can be adjusted to the environment, the existing security improvement program can continue to work well. But to assist with information security community, to assist them to manage and operate in the ongoing security program, a management model must be adopted. So in general, the management models are frameworks that structure the task of managing a particular set of activities or business functions. One we're going to look at is the NIST SP 800-100, the Information Security Handbook, a guide for managers. This provides managerial guidance for establishing and implementing an information security program. Now, with this, there are 13 areas of information security management that is presented. What they do is they provide a specific monitoring activities for each task. The tasks are something that should be done on an ongoing basis. And keep in mind, not all issues are negative. The first area would be information security governance. That's where the agency should monitor the status of their program. They want to ensure that ongoing information security activities providing appropriate support, that the policies and procedures are current, and the controls are accomplishing their intended purpose. The second area would be system development life cycle. Now, with this, you should make sure it includes the configuration and change management. Third area is awareness and training. With this, it's recommended that automated tracking systems should be designed to capture key information about program activity. You want to track the compliance, and that involves assessing the status of the program as indicated by the database information and mapping it to the standards that's going to be established by the agency. And then the security policy. The security policies must evolve, and the awareness and training must be updated. The fourth area is capital planning and investment control. Departments are going to be required to allocate funding towards the highest priority investments, and they're designed to facilitate the expenditure of agency funds. The fifth area of information security management is interconnected systems. That's the direct connection of two or more systems for sharing data. Now, one thing to keep in mind was this, that it can expose the participating organization at risk. because if one of the connected systems is compromised, the internet connection could be compromised, uh, and it could be used as a conduit for the between the two systems. The sixth area is performance measures. That should be used for monitoring the performance of the information systems, information security controls, and initiating performance improvements. One of the most crucial ongoing responsibilities in security management is the seventh step in this model, and it is the security planning. Number 8, information security technology contingency planning. That consists of a process for recovery and documentations of procedures. The ninth area covered is risk management. This is something that's going to be an ongoing effort. Some of the tasks included in this is performing risk identification, analysis, and management. The 10th area of information security management is presented would be certification, accreditation, and security assessments. So you check the status of security controls, make sure that they're checked regularly. This includes auditing, which is the review of a systems used to determine if any misuse has occurred. The 11th area is security services and product acquisitions. So when you are looking at selecting new security products and services, they should be selected and used to support the organization's overall program. The 12th area is incident response and the incident response lifecycle. So this is a well-defined incident response capability. And then what this does, it helps the organization detect incidents rapidly, minimize the loss and destruction. Also, it helps you identify weaknesses and restore operations rapidly. The 13th and final area is configuration or change management. Okay, this manages the effects of changes in configurations. So when you're working through change management, you have 5 steps that you'll go through with this. First, you'll identify the change. You'll evaluate the change request. You'll have an implementation decision. Then you'll have an implement the approved change request. And then you want to make sure that you continue monitoring after a change management. Last, we're going to talk about the security maintenance model. This is designed to focus organizational efforts on maintaining systems. This model is recommended on 5 subject areas. External monitoring, which the objective here is to provide early awareness of new and emerging threats, threat agents, vulnerabilities, and attacks. And this is done so your organization can mount an effective defense. So in this, it entails collecting intelligence from data sources, giving that intelligence the context and meaning for use by the organization's decision makers. The primary goal of internal monitoring is informed awareness of the state of the organization's network, systems, and security defenses. Now, internal monitoring, that can be accomplished by inventorying network devices and channels, IT infrastructure and applications, and information security infrastructure elements. Also by leading the IT governance process, real-time monitoring of IT activities, monitoring the internal state of the organization's network and systems. The third area, maintenance model, in this maintenance model is network. Well, before we get there, let's start with network characterization and inventory back in the internal monitoring. So this organization should have to have maintained, carefully planned, and fully populated inventory of network devices, communication channels, and computing devices. In there, once the characteristics have been identified, you must carefully organize and store these using either a manual or automated mechanism that allows timely retrieval and rapid integration of the facts. Another thing you can do for internal monitoring is detecting differences. Now, with a difference analysis, that's a procedure that compares current state of the network segment against known previous states of the same segment. When you see unexpected differences between the current state and the baseline state, that could indicate some kind of trouble. The third area is the planning and risk assessment. So the primary objective of this is to keep a lookout over the entire information security program. This is accomplished by identifying and planning ongoing information security activities that's going to further reduce your risk. One of the ways you can do this is through information security program planning and review. That's a periodic review of ongoing information security programs and planning for enhancements and extensions during this process is recommended. You should examine future IT needs of the organization and the impact on information security. One of the recommended approaches takes advantage of the fact that most organizations have annual capital budget planning cycles, and they manage security projects as part of that process. So it's something that they do on a yearly basis. Now, when you're working with projects, if you have a large project, it should be broken into a smaller project, and you do this for several different reasons. One is smaller projects tend to have more manageable impacts on networks and users. The larger projects, they tend to complicate change control process in the implementation phase. You have shorter planning, development, and implementation schedules, and they help reduce the uncertainty. And also, most large projects can easily be broken down into smaller projects. And this gives you more opportunities to change directions and gain flexibility. The fourth area is the vulnerability assessment and remediation. Primary goal of this is identification of specific documented vulnerabilities and their timely remediation. So how fast can you fix these vulnerabilities? This is accomplished by using vulnerability assessment procedures. You want to document background information and providing tested fixing procedures for vulnerabilities. Track vulnerabilities from the time they are identified. Communicating vulnerability information to owners of the vulnerable systems. Reporting on the status of vulnerabilities. And ensuring the proper level of management is involved. So you can think of this as the process of identifying and documenting specific and provable flaws in the organization's information asset environment. Now, we do have some ways that we can do this, and other ways we can do this. For example, in the vulnerability assessment process, this can help organizations balance intrusive vulnerability assessments with the need for stable and effective productive environment. A couple of ways we can do this is through penetration testing, internet vulnerability assessment, platform security validation, wireless vulnerability assessment, and documenting vulnerabilities. Now, the remediating vulnerabilities, the objective of this is to repair flaws causing a vulnerability instance or removing a risk associated with that vulnerability. Now, with this as a last resort, the informed decision makers, if they have the proper authority, they can accept the risk. It is important to recognize that building relationships with those who control information assets is key to the success for fixing these vulnerabilities. And that success depends on the organization adapting team approaches to remediation in place of cross-organization push and pull. So working together to fix the problem is the key to the success. The last one we're going to talk about is readiness and review. Primary goal of this is to keep information security programs functioning as designed and continuously improving. Now, a couple ways we can do this is through a policy review, program review, and also through rehearsals and training.